Welcome back to Plasticity Live. In this episode, I want to give this app a try. It's called Plasticity CAD for Artists. Okay, it's just been released officially a few days ago, I think, but it's been in beta for quite a while. I haven't tested until yesterday, but I like it. I actually find this really interesting. I talked about another app called Shapr3D in the past, and I quite like Shapr3D as well, but I didn't go too far with it. Plasticity, hopefully, I think it's kind of similar to Shapr, but also has some tools that's kind of similar to Blender workflow, like using maybe BoxCutter or GridModeler. The app currently available for Windows, Mac OS, M1, which means at some point this could work actually for iPad as well. I don't know that for sure, but yeah, I just want to give it a try today. Okay, the app itself is not free. At some point, I might get the indie or studio version. Indie for now, I think $99 once off. It's not like subscription based. Once off payment, and you can get the tool for yourself forever. 30 days free is the one that I'm using at the moment, so I can use all the modeling tools and I can export as OBJ. So let's give it a try. Yeah, so when you start the app, Plasticity, you are presented with this, like any 3D package. What's interesting, however, right away, you can use the default key bindings or Blender Maya Moi 3D Max. I'm using Blender, so I will use this key binding. So now if I move around, it's just like in Blender. Scroll up and down to zoom in. Okay, so it's quite obvious. Middle mouse button to rotate like this orbit. Yeah, everything is like pretty much like Blender. And the tool set itself, so this is the app itself supposed to work like CAD, right? So there's actually a lot of tools that's more or less behaving like a CAD, like NURBS based, like lofting or like a trimming, things like that. But when you first started, you are presented with this cube, and yeah, for now, maybe don't worry about all the details of the tools yet. So if you just wanna get into it right away, okay, let's just get started. Okay, but what's important, I think, is to know about this selection mode. Okay, control point selection mode. There's a edge, face, and body. And when you start, you have this default cube, which is a solid object. Later on, you will see there's actually like curve objects. There is a second one that I forgot the name. I think sheet, and then solid. Solid is 3D object. Okay, and then you seems to be able to offset face. Okay, this is probably the first functions that you are using inside Plasticity. So there are other things that we can use here. Maybe we can try that a bit later. The obvious one, the first thing you want to do is probably extrude. We can actually call the commands from here, but there is also, yeah, this E for extrude. Okay, so that's the first function that we're gonna use. E, extrude, and if we right click, we end the commands, but you might notice that we don't get the usual extrusion. We don't get the edge around here, so that's one thing to know. So let's try again. Extrude using E, extrude. There's all these options. Okay, yeah, you can apparently scale up or down. Okay, that's normal. Let's E again. Select a face. Actually, right click, select a face. E, extrude again, and there. Okay, this is quite interesting. This is unusual. It's almost like extruding the side, and you're gonna get that. Okay, so far so good and pretty normal, nothing special. But you can also select edge like this, and you can see there's this gizmo, and you can start doing funky stuff like Shapr3D. So I'm familiar with Shapr a little bit, and I never use Moa 3D or Moa 3D. That's something else that's kind of similar. I don't know how different they are, but yeah, with Shapr and with Plasticity, seems like we can easily round the corner this way. You know, it's that's for sure, that's gonna be pretty handy, and it's pretty unusual to have this. If I wish Blender have something like this. Maybe with Blender you're gonna use different ways to bevel or yeah, to make a rounded corner like this. But with this guy over here, with Plasticity, there seems like a lot of freedom to kind of move, to kind of offset a surface in a certain way, and you sometimes you can get a pretty interesting result. So here I'm just like testing this out, right? So it's the first time, not the first time using it. I was using this all day yesterday, and I found a lot of surprises actually. So you might notice now we actually have two solid objects. So they're separated. I believe you can actually join them. Once you join them, you can then kind of offset the surface, but maybe for now I'm not gonna join them, just gonna play around first a little bit more. So far I've been using this yeah, they call it fillet. So fillet allowing you to do like a rounding of edges, and yeah, I believe there's a way to select the loop. I have to check the documentation or watch the video, but I like this function also, that you kind of select the face, and then I was looking at this, and then okay, convert selection to face, convert selection to edges. So control 2 kind of switch that to edges. Now we can round the corner like that. So that's really pretty handy. Let me save this very quickly. So this is a demo, and so far, so you see, if I push too far, it's gonna snap, and we're gonna get this error. It doesn't like that what I'm doing, so I go up instead. So it's kind of like playing around with the surface of what we are creating. So we are at this point, it's still pretty fun, pretty sweet. Of course, at some point we want to design something based on concepts, so that's slightly different than just mucking around. But so far we're gonna get used to the tool first, you know, like get comfortable. So far I've been quite happy with this. Let's try, you know, another extrude. E for extrusion. Yeah, okay, we get another shape like this. There's also O, which is offset. It's called offset. We can see, we can do like an offset, kind of like an inset in fact. So let's do that. So right click to complete it, and then we can, yeah, so we can actually extrude that area. So it's like an inset. So that part is so far it's so good. So, and every time you do a function, you right click and then you complete it. Let's try if I want to bevel that area. So there's a, like, for that kind of thing, there's like a limit. Okay, there's no problem for now. Let's say if I want to make a cut in a certain way, if I extrude this, if I hit E and then extrude, yeah, okay, that's connected to this guy. Okay, I might want to round this off. Okay. Yeah, so far, if I want to actually extrude out, I haven't tested out. If I want to make like a wing, for example, I don't know how to do the mirror so far, but we know we can extrude. Let's say we extrude 0.5, and can I scale 20 degrees, right click, extrude again. Yeah, okay, not bad. Maybe can we mirror Boolean? Yeah, there is a mirror here. Okay, I'm doing the offset. Don't worry about that. There must be a quick way just to mirror the objects, but for now, maybe don't care about that. Let's look at other things. Like, for example, there's this corner box, which is really weird. I mean, some of the tools really weird. I think Plasticity also have some kind of like a VDB workflow, so you can use solid, and then you do lots of booleans. I haven't tried it much, but I tried this tool at some point. And for example, I'm on top of the face here. I can click and then draw like a box, and I can cut. No, in this case, it just doesn't work. Let's try again. Corner box, select a face, draw. In this case, it doesn't seem to work. Let's save this. What I want to show you, let's try new. So we start with this box again. We can, okay, offset face. First of all, offset is not extrude. It's totally different. So let's try, okay, we do this fillet thing. Okay, bevel, whatever. And then I will try corner box once again. So we can be on top of a face. Okay, I just gonna place the box, whatever. Click. As you see, this is this is actually really interesting. When it's red, it's like Boolean. It's doing a Boolean cut. Let's do that. Right click. We have something that looks like a BoxCutter or GridModeler. I don't know. I don't know yet, but it's pretty handy. So we can, okay, let's try another corner box. It doesn't always work, but when it works, it's kind of really neat. Okay, Shift B is the shortcut. So okay, let's do Shift B again. It's kind of doing, okay, it's a little bit annoying that it's kind of keeps switching. So maybe we just gonna use selection mode just to face. So it's not that, I mean, still doing it. Anyway, undo is escape is actually get rid of the last tool, and then you can actually hit tab to select all, which is really interesting as well. Let's save this as another demo. Okay, Shift B, Boolean cut, right click. So that's like a solid and solid operations. I actually quite like this. When you first use Plasticity without the documentations, because maybe currently it doesn't have a lot of documentations, I believe, but a lot of video tutorials of people testing it out. There's some interesting operation. I mean, check out the video on YouTube that's kind of 3D modeling Suzanne using plasticity. That's actually really interesting. Suddenly you are like using CAD NURBS tool like inside Maya. Yeah, but for now, really, I'm just doing this, kind of testing it out. Okay, yeah, the cool thing is this that I found. You can quickly like doing this kind of bevel. You see how it's round, it's beveling this way, but it's, if you select this edge, sometimes it does the cut into the other side, which is kind of strange, but also interesting. So you can create a funky looking geometry. Yeah, I found it a little bit like Shapr3D, but this also have some tools that's very similar to Blender modeling tools. The move, actually move is G, rotate R, scale is S, similar to Blender. There's actually a lot of Booleans, cut solid with curve. I haven't tried that. There's also mirror that I haven't tried. Duplicate objects, that's okay, don't worry. But the line cuts, things like that, I haven't tried. And we can actually select a face, hit spacebar, and now you're temporary on that construction plane of that face. So you can actually create a rectangle, for example, and draw like this. Yeah, okay. Let's say I'm drawing that, hit enter. Now we have curve and we have solid, and let's try this. Cut solid with a curve. Select target bodies, selects cutter. Select target bodies, selects the cutter, which is our curve, right? Our curve. Yeah. Now you can see this curve actually cutting through the objects, which is what we want, right? Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Now that it has been cut through the objects, we can start doing more to it. Okay, this rounded bevel thing's handy. Sometimes doing it on the other side as well. Sometimes it doesn't. See, it's doing that. Okay. It's okay. Still getting used to the workflow. Since it's cutting through everything, it's like it's almost like BoxCutter, and I don't know what's going on there, but there seems to be like a solid inside it. Ah, okay, see. We can get rid of that solid inside it. But there's a, yeah, let's get rid of that, hide it. Okay, let's work with the solid. So let's keep going. So I made a couple of objects yesterday. This one is more like architecture kind of design, right? The other day I make a few objects that look like a toilet. So yeah, okay. This is the thing with plasticity. I don't know what's going on underneath, but you can push and pull and offset the area, and that's kind of cool. In Blender, you have something like this. That's sometimes you get non-manifold objects, but there's some kind of, this is very kind of like a freedom. Okay, this one, see, like sometimes it fails. It doesn't like that I'm offsetting that area too far. select this, select that face. I want to push it down, not too far, but I can push it down, so yeah, I get that detail. This area I can push it. I can always E and extrude, but I'm not gonna do that. I like how I can just make like rounded corner like that. It's making it really modern. Yeah, I think if you're making, you know, kind of like abstract looking random shapes, you might have found the perfect app to do it. Let's say I save this. I'm gonna show you what I have the other day. Toilet. It looks like a toilet. Could also be like a bed, some kind of bed. And you see, offset seems to work. See, get like a baby crib or something. There's a lot of interesting surprises while pushing and pulling the areas. Let me show you another one. Okay, this one also looking like a toilet or like a bed, but pushing and pulling give a different design. Anyway, you can, and there's a lot of cool tools like that, like offset and extrude, just to give that. Okay, this time it doesn't work. Let's E. Yeah, that kind of thing is easy inside Plasticity. Study model. Did I save the bed? Oh, this one is just marking around. Let's try a new scene. Okay, instead of the box, I will delete the box. Okay, this time let's start with this regular polygon. When we draw it, it's like an n-gon, right? And then you can hold shift and wheel up and down, and you can get hexagonal. Let's try this for now. 5-sided objects, and then let's try extruding this area like normal. Extrude. Right click. You might notice it's creating, this time it's actually creating a solid. Previously when I tried this, it's not creating a solid, it's creating like a sheet. It doesn't have the top part, which is kind of weird. Let me try again. Right click. If I select the curve, hit E, extrude. Because I'm extruding a curve or edge, I get a sheet. Okay, this is particularly interesting. This one become a solid because I'm selecting like a face of the curve. Okay, now this is when things get a little bit more interesting, because I don't know what to do next, because in Blender we just hit F and then fill the hole. With this guy, I believe I tried a lot of things. Fillet curve, probably the one. No, face, is it the face? Yeah, there's an operations that I forgot, but we can select the curve and then we just fill it. Oh, patch holes along edges create patch from curve. Wow, this is the one. Okay, so that's kind of recreating the whole. If we hide the curve, so we get this shape which is still hollow at the bottom, but we can patch it. Patch. Now it's becoming solid. Now that's becoming solid, maybe it's easier to do the extrusion, things like that. I don't know, so far. Anyway, E is extrude. Right click is to finish the operations. E, extrude. And we can scale, of course. Right click. O is, of course, doing this inset kind of thing. Right click. And then we can do that, which is pretty funky. E, extrude again on that area. So we have that happening. O, and then going out. And then extrude or in, extrude. Okay, since we are here, let's try. Yeah, this kind of thing. We can actually join them together and it's become one solid. Let's try that actually. We are selecting these objects and then hit G, grab. We're gonna merge this together. I don't know what's gonna happen. Select both solid and Boolean. Where's the Boolean? Boolean. Yeah, Boolean union. Q for union Q. Right click. Now it's become a single object, which is pretty cool. Now we can, because they are combined together, we can actually do some weird things that Blender cannot do. It's like a blending two geometry together. You can do it in Blender, but it's just much simpler this way. And I think this could be like an extra tool on top of Blender, even though it's a paid tool, but I really quite like it. So far, so good. Okay, save, because I like this demo object 3. It's not anything particularly interesting yet. And extrude. Yeah, this is what I found. I don't know how to extrude along normal. So I'm gonna undo that for now. It's the best we can do, at least, you know, with things like that. We can baffle it easily. The cutting and Boolean I haven't tried much, but as you can see, we merged two objects together, and now we have these really interesting looking objects. And if we use this plane, for example, we can do another cut. Some corner, rectangle. We cannot. Oh yeah, we can draw like that way. Enter. We have this curve. Let's do the cutting. Cut curve with solid. Cut solid with curve. Select the target body. Select the cutter. This guy. Enter. Oops. Select target bodies. Apparently we have multiple objects. Oh, we already make a cut. Don't worry about this. Can get rid of the curve maybe. Yeah, it's already cutting the objects. Scale, can I scale this? Okay, yeah. That's really interesting actually. So I just scale it. This guy I can also scale like Blender using S. So I scale, right click, okay. Select all this solid and then Boolean and then Q for union. Now it's a single object again. We are building something that looks like anime spaceships. Okay, sometimes it's doing that. That's what I mean. Sometimes it's doing surprising. Because we are using offset face. Sometimes it's probably surprised that you are trying to offset that area and it doesn't like it. But if you're lucky, you get a new shapes and yeah, that might be what you want. Okay, this area, definitely E, extrude. I don't know why I want to do that. Select the face. We can round that area. I like that rounded corner. Maybe it's too much rounded corner is good. It's not good, but that's kind of modern looking. Let's try just the front part. So just select 1, 2, 3, 4, rounded area. You see? Let's do it this way. Oh yeah, I believe this app also can be connected to Blender. Somehow you can actually update the model inside Blender in real time or something like that. I haven't tried it. Okay, I forgot to select that area. But I like how it's just can quickly blend and make a rounded corner and blend into the next surface. That's very unusual. It doesn't come with Blender, this kind of functionality. But now you can have it if you have this app. Okay, yeah, I don't know what it is, but still pretty cool. So let's say you want to bring this into Blender with this demo, 30 days demo version. I will just save it to the desktop as obj. Save. When you save, oh, okay, space ship.obj. When you save, there's this option, triangle, quad, and gone. Let's use quad. Just hit OK. So we just export it out. I will open up Blender. I made a couple of things like the toilet thing that I keep mentioning. See, just like a bunch of objects. Looks like a toilet. Like a walking toilet. Yeah, look, it's got a fancy things, you know, that was made using Dream UV. There's an add-on called Dream UV, which is very interesting. Let me import the OBJ. First of all, bring our spaceship. You might notice the spaceship is also tilted incorrectly. from plasticity to Blender, it might be slightly, you know, you need to rotate it back to the proper position. Now I want to make this guy like this because this guy doesn't have UV, but we have Dream UV. Okay, Dream UV add-on, which is really fancy way to just make a hotspot. There you go. Look, what this add-on does actually, if you look at the UV, there's this area, okay, and it's gonna try to cut and put the area into these atlas objects, so each one of them looks like it was made from sheet of metals. You can download that add-on for free. I think I mentioned it in the past. Yeah, this one. Dream UV by Bars. You just download it. This last update 2 years ago, and then developer disappeared. I don't know. Maybe he works on a game company. But anyhow, we create this little spaceship. I don't know. Submarine, spaceship, whatever. Looks pretty weird. But this guy is, I believe it's pretty clean. So we can still bevel it in Blender. Can we simplify it? We can still simplify it. That means that this model is quite clean, which is not bad. Let's see how about this toilet. Simplify. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. But in this case, we probably don't need subdivision surface. So this is the objects that's coming out from Plasticity. Okay. So it's looking pretty great, and we can export it into we can export it to game engine or turn it into AR, things like that. It's probably, or further, can we do further modeling inside Blender? Of course, the usual modeling tools. You might find some surface is a little bit weird. It looks great, but maybe we need to flatten some areas. Yeah, there's a lot of funkiness happening there. Oh, maybe because I'm using this loop cut. Okay, sorry. Sorry. We can select face like normally, I believe. No, because this is like quad instead of n-gon. File, extrude. Don't worry about it. I'm just saying we can further model it if we keep the n-gon. But for now, I can maybe just spend more time in this app on my own. And you can give it a try yourself. What I'm showing you is like probably only like scratching the surface. I haven't actually used all the offering, like the Boolean tools, sweep, lofting, revolve. Yeah, this is all like all the additional tools, and then also all these functions that all of these I haven't used. But we can basically using like NURBS kind of tool, like CAD kind of tools, and then going around the objects. We also have like spiral, but so far I quite like it. So we can project a curve into any surface, into the solid, and then we can push and pull and extrude. It's a very unusual tool. Nevertheless, it's probably like there's no other tool outside that's like Plasticity at the moment. I think, at least the one that's this affordable. And yeah, accessible to us as an indie artist. So I think, yeah, I will try to spend more hours on this every day for 30 days. Maybe I'll do another video if I found something interesting that you can use. But if you're like, even if you're not a 3D artist, I think this is quite simple. If you, yeah, to create like a CAD kind of design. It can be, the result can be abstract looking. You might end up with weird design, but pushing and pulling should be easy enough. And just make a rounded corner whenever you like. Yeah, I call this like a spaceship submarine, but could be anything. Yeah, I need to study some proper solid modeling. Oh yeah, I think in the end, plasticity, I think it's really good for to model like a solid geometry, like a design-based geometry. You know, like a PlayStation controller, Nintendo Wii, radio design. You know, it's probably not for character design. You can use Blender. You can use Blender, you know, like do a remesh and then sculpt it. It's just like, you know, it's completely different at this point. If you sculpt it, it's different. It's than doing it like a solid constructive, like a solid geometry. But yeah, give it a try on this app yourself. I think play around with the solid like sphere and corner box and then see what you can make with, even with just this simple basic cylinder. I think you can just draw and make a cut, which is really weird and really cool that you can do that. Okay, so yeah, that's my first look into Plasticity 3D. From just go to Plasticity XYZ to download the app. So yeah, I will try to cover this again in the next video, maybe more proper one with more functions that I missed in the first try of this app. But thanks again for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.